Hello everyone. Now we are going to do part 2 of the lesson Open Window by H. Munro. In my previous video, we have discussed about the part 1, the story of the lesson. Now let us continue the lesson in part 2. Now, let me give you an overview. Mrs. Sappleton comes down at last and inadvertently confirms her niece's story. Now, Mrs. Sappleton has come down from upstairs and at last she inadvertently means accidentally, she confirms what the niece had made up a story. So she confirms it that whatever has happened has actually happened with her. Frampton tries to acquaint his host with the nature of his ailment. So Frampton was trying his level best to make him clear, or rather make her clear, rather the host, with the nature of his ailment, his weakness, his disease, his illness. So he was trying to tell his host about the nature of his ailment. Through the open window, he can see things that worsen his nerves. So, at last, through the window, he saw something which had actually made his condition even worse. So, what has happened? Let us find out. She broke off with a little shudder. She broke off means that she came down with the and broke off the silence with a little shudder, with a noise. It was a relief to Frampton when the aunt entered into the room with a whirl of apologies. She was regretting. Apology is she was regretting for being late in making her appearance. So the aunt broke down. Mrs. Sappleton came down with a little shudder, with a little noise. It was a relief to Frampton when Aunt entered into the room with the whirl of apologies. Again and again she was apologizing for being late. I hope Vera is the niece. The name of the girl who was talking to Frampton was Vera. I hope Vera has been amusing you, entertaining you, she said, Mrs. Sappleton. She has been very interesting, said Frampton. So Frampton replied that I actually enjoyed her company. I hope you don't mind the open window, said Mrs. Sappleton. So Mrs. Sappleton asked him that I hope you don't mind this window to be open, said Mrs. Sappleton briskly, quickly. She said, my husband and 2 brothers will be home directly from shooting and they always come in this way. So she confirmed the statement of the niece that the husband and brother, they had gone for shooting and they will be home soon. It shows that she is still waiting for them to come. So without giving a thought when Mrs. Sappleton talked about it, so Mr. Frampton got to know that whatever the niece was narrating, it is actually true. They have been out for snipe in the marshes. For snipe means for shooting a bird or snipe. They have been out for snipe in the marshes, in the wetland today. So they'll make a fine mess over my poor carpets. So she said that as they have been to the marshes, to the muddy land, and will then come back, they are going to create a lot of mess on my carpet. So you men folk, isn't it? That means you men folk are very careless. Fine, you do not bother about if the things get dirty. So she is actually confirming it with the question tag, isn't it? So you men folk, isn't it? She rattled on cheerfully. Rattled on means she kept on speaking very cheerfully, very happily about the shooting and the scarcity of birds. So Mrs. Sappleton continued to talk about shooting and she said that right now there is scarcity of birds and prospects for duck in the winter. And she talked about that there is a possibility that ducks can be seen in the winter time. To Frampton, it was purely horrible. Now, Frampton also realized the fact which the niece talk about, that Mrs. Sappleton is waiting for the family to return. And after listening to Mrs. Sappleton, he was horrified. He was scared. He made a desperate but only partially successful effort. So he was making a desperate. That means he was desiring to make, he was continuously making, and the conscious effort he was making, but partially successful. He was not at all successful to turn the talk onto a less ghastly topic. Ghastly means very shocking. Fine, very shocking. So whatever Mrs. Sappleton was talking about, Mr. Frampton was trying to deviate the topic and talk about something less ghastly, talk about something less horrific. He was conscious that his hostess was giving him only a fragment of her attention, and her eyes were constantly straying past, looking past him to the open window and the lawn beyond. So he knew, Mr. Frampton knew that Mrs. Sappleton is giving him only a fragment of attention, very least attention she was giving, and most of the attention or her eyes were there towards the window as she is waiting for somebody. So this shows that the lady is waiting for somebody to come. It was certainly an unfortunate coincidence that he should have paid his visit on this tragic anniversary. So he says that it is very unlucky and coincident that it had happened on that particular day when it is the tragic anniversary. That means today is the day those people had gone and now it's the anniversary. I should not have paid the visit on this particular day. So he was trying his level best to deviate the topic, but then nothing was done, and continuously the lady was looking at the window. The doctors agree in ordering me complete rest. An absence of mental excitement and avoidance of anything in nature of violent physical exercise, announced Frampton. So he says that my doctors have advised me to take complete rest, an absence of mental excitement and avoidance of any violent physical exercise. So he says that I have bad nerves and I am not normal. So my doctor has advised me some medicine, as well as that I should avoid the mental excitement and any violent physical exercise. So this is how they were conversing, and Mr. Frampton was talking about his illness to Mrs. Sappleton, who labored under a tolerably widespread delusion. That means he was trying to make a continuous effort or an opinion that total strangers and the chance acquaintances are hungry for the least details of one's ailments and infirmities. So he says that who labored, that means who here is Mr. Frampton, labored, made efforts under the tolerably widespread delusion. That means he is unable to believe, unable to take or bear the delusion, the opinion that the strangers and the acquaintances, the known ones, have anything to do with my ailments, that is the illness, and the infirmities. Infirmities means pains, their cause and cure. So he says, to whomever I am meeting, nobody is bothered. People are least bothered about my illness and my pain and the cause and the cure of it. And I really am a little confused whether I should meet these strangers or not. So continuously he was thinking about the same. On the matter of diet, they are not so much in agreement, he continued. He said, on the matter of the agreement. I don't think that the people would agree with me and they would listen. No, said Mrs. Sappleton in a voice which only replaced a yawn at the moment. That means the lady was paying least attention and she opened her mouth and took a deep breath when she actually heard Mr. Frampton, because she was not interested to listen to Mr. Frampton's illness. Then she suddenly brightened into alert attention. Initially, she was yawning, but then there was a sudden change in her behavior. She brightened up. She became very active and alert. But not to what Frampton was saying, but not to what the conversation was going on. Here they are at last, she cried. So she cried, she stated at last that here they are at last, that somebody has come. Just in time for tea. And don't they look as if they were muddy up to the eyes? So she says that, look, here they are just in time for tea. Don't they look as if they are muddy up to the eyes? They are totally covered up to the eyes. So she was pointing out to somebody and continuously she was looking at them, and this shows that she was very active and alert now and very happy to receive them. Frampton shivered. He was in a great shock. He was shaking slightly and turned towards the niece with a look intended to convey sympathetic comprehension. So, after listening to Mrs. Sappleton, because it seems as if she is welcoming someone, so he shivered, he was in a great shock, and he looked towards the niece with an intended eyes to convey or to pass on sympathetic, feeling pity on Mrs. Sappleton's condition. So he says that I am not well, but the one to whom I have come to meet, she is also not in her proper mental balance. Look at her, the way she is behaving. The child was staring out through the open window with the dazed horror in her eyes. So when Mr. Frampton looked at Vera, the child was looking out with the complete horror. With the dazed horror means she was looking outside with the horrified face, as if she has seen some ghost. In a chill shock of nameless fear, Frampton swung around. That means in a chill shock, that means at a complete silence, he was shocked to see the features, the expressions of the girl. She swung around in his seat and looked in the same direction out the window, out through the window. In the deepening twilight, that means deepening means getting dark. Twilight is the time when the sun is about to set, but still there is some light. So in the deepening twilight, three figures were walking across the lawn. So when he moved back, he turned around, he could see three figures coming towards the window through the lawn. They all carried guns under their arms, and one of them was additionally burdened with a white coat hung over his shoulder. So what happened? They all carried the guns. They were holding guns in their arms, and one of them was additionally burdened. One of them had an extra burden of keeping a coat which is hanging around over his shoulder, and a tired brown spaniel, a tired, very tired and weak brown colored dog kept close at their heels. It was walking near to them. Noiselessly, they neared the house. Now, without saying any word, they were coming close to the house, and then a hoarse, very hoarse young voice chanted the song at the dusk. I say, Bertie, why do you bound? So the same line the brother was singing in order to irritate his sister. So whatever he heard, it is actually happening. But Mr. Frampton was shivering. He was in a great shock, and now he is not in a state to say a word. So After the end of part 2, let us do comprehension check to see to it that we have actually understood the part. What did Mrs. Sappleton say about the open window? The answer is, Mrs. Sappleton said that her husband, 2 brothers, along with the dog would come back from hunting through the window. That is why it is kept open. Next question. The horror on girl's face made Frampton swing around in his seat. What did he see? The answer is, Mr. Frampton swung around to know the reason for girl's horror. He saw 3 figures coming towards the lawn. So he could find that the 3 figures were coming towards the lawn. So this is part 2. I hope you have understood the lesson. Now in my next video, we are going to continue with part 3 and end the lesson. So I hope you liked the video. Thank you.